on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, social economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
This is the ATN Global News at 9. First, the headlines. Court avoids 10-year extension for Rivers LGA chairman. Bandits kill 40 in Plateau community. Again, Labour rejects FG's new minimum wage. CBN raises interest rate to 26.25%. Finland proposes new border law. Burna Boy joins Nollywood. Tony Kroos retires from professional football. A very good evening to you, and thank you for joining us on the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. And now, the details of the stories. River State High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has avoided a 10-year extension for local government chairman and the state. This was as the court declared local government law number 2 of 2024, which extended the tenure of local government chairman by 6 months after expiration of their tenure invalid. The 27 lawmakers on the camp of the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Chief Jason Wike, had this year, in the face of the crisis, enacted a law extending the 3-year tenure of the 7 LGA chairman by 3 months. However, the court in its decision Tuesday held that the new law was inconsistent with the 1999 Constitution and Section 9(1) of Rivers State Law Number 5 of 2018, which fixed 3 years for local government chairmen and councillors. The court gave the ruling that a recent extension of local government chairman's tenures was invalid in suits instituted by Honorable Enyada Kokigam and 6 hours versus. The governor of Rivers State and urged in his judgment, Honorable Justice DGQ declared that the local government law number 2 of 2024, which sought to extend the chairman's terms by 6 months, complete with the 1999 Constitution and Section 9 of Rivers State Local Government Law Number 5 of 2018. The court affirmed that the lawful tenure for local government chairmen and councillors remained 3 years, as stipulated by the 2018 law, stressing that any attempt to extend the tenure was not only unlawful but also violated the official's oath of office. Coalition of civil societies led by Center for Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness has called on Rivers State government to fairly address the unfolding event and the state in accordance with the true democracy and democratic principles in line with global practice in order to save democracy in the state. According to the coalition group, Rivers State government has refused to obey court's judgment and orders, thereby abusing court process and tantamount to self-help. Director General Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness, Dr. Nwabo Gabriel, lists out numbers of judgments done in the state. Thus, the government has watered down the waters.
Firstly, Honorable Justice J.K. Omotosho of the Federal High Court, Abuja, gave a judgment stating that the assembly led by Right Honorable Martins Ameule is recognized by law and certified by the court. In Order 4, given by CS/1613/2023, between the Rivers State House of Assembly and Right Honorable Ameule and others, states that the 11th defendant, that is the governor of Rivers State, is prohibited from making any request, presentation, or nomination to any other house of assembly other than that led by Right Honorable Martin Sameule. This judgment is subsisting, and this judgment has not been set aside. In another suit pending before the FCT High Court in suit number FHC/ABJ/CS/1681/2024 before Honorable Justice Okoro, between the River States House of Assembly, gave an injunction restraining the INEC and the defendants from declaring the seats vacant and from proceeding to conduct elections to fill any vacancy. The first judgment made by Honorable Justice J.K. Omotosho is still subsisting and has not been set aside. The second order made by Honorable Justice Okoro has not been vacated. In other words, the order made by Justice C.N. Wale amounts to forum shopping, abuse of court process, and this tantamount to self-help.
Dr. Gabriel also raised deep concerns about reports suggesting that the chief executives are spending River State Fund outside the realm of appropriation, replication of corruption, abuse of power, and due process.
We are deeply saddened and deeply concerned about the report suggesting that the Chief Executive Officer, Governor Fubara, is spending River State funds outside the realm of appropriation, a replication of corruption, abuse of power, and due process. The act contravenes the principles of fiscal responsibility and accountability. Public funds should be managed prudently and in accordance with the provisions of the law. We urge the appropriate authorities to investigate these allegations thoroughly and take appropriate actions to safeguard the interests of the citizens of Nigeria and the citizens of River State. As a coalition of rights organizations, we firmly stand against illegal activities and actions of the Chief Executive of River State. We call on all citizens, civil society organizations, the leaders of the bar and the bench to join us in defending the rule of law, upholding democratic tenets and principles, and safeguarding our constitutionally guaranteed rights. We will take all necessary steps to oppose this desecration of our courts and the noble profession of law. Together, we can ensure that justice prevails and rights of the people in River State is protected. Thank you.
A federal high court sitting in Port Harcourt, River State, has convicted and sentenced one Daniel Water-Anga to prison for internet fraud. He was prosecuted by the Port Harcourt Zonal Command of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, on a one-count charge of impersonation and using false identities in Gmail and Facebook for romance scam. He pleaded guilty when the charge was read to him, following which prosecution counsel Argo tendered some documenting evidence and called a witness as a one Yahya Yusuf Abbas, an operative of EFCC who testified against him. The documents tendered by the prosecution included the statement of the defendant, incriminating printout from the defendant's mobile device and his iPhone 12. Based on the evidence tendered and the testimonies of the witnesses, Argo prayed the court to convict and sentence accordingly, while defense counsel J.J. Simon asked the court to temper justice with mercy, stating that the defendant was a first-time offender and did not waste the time of the court. Justice S.D.P. Palm thereafter sentenced Anga to 1 year imprisonment or 20,000 naira. Socio-political analyst Dr. John Idu Mange has called on the federal government to fulfill its promise of providing modular oil refinery during its campaign period. Idu Mange made the call while speaking as a guest on Atlantic TV Blowout. He asked the federal government to accomplish its promise so as to utilize the skills of the persons involved in illegal oil refinery.
Some years back, when I think during the time of Obasanjo, the Niger Delta youths protested, and the promise made to them was that the federal government will establish modular refineries to, create job opportunities for them and to enhance their skills. But, in Nigeria, promises are not kept. Just as we have no respect for public funds, we have no respect for promises. Normally, when a promise is made, it's like an affidavit you have sworn to fulfill. Now again, this discovery has demonstrated one thing, that oil theft is something that can hardly stop in Nigeria.
Hardly stop?
Yes, it can hardly stop.
Why?
Because
Why do you think so?
number one, because there is hunger in the land. Number two, so many of the active, vibrant youths are unemployed. I know of boys who left university 12, 13 years ago, still roaming the streets. Now, things are even worse. Look at the cost of living crisis. Inflation as at 2008, 2009, inflation was 11%. Now it is 33%. In America and other civilized societies, the moment inflation gets to 3, 4 to 5%, it is an alarm. Yes. They will declare a state of emergency. But in Nigeria, we have, our capacity to absorb shock has become part of our body. So no matter what happens, people are dying in silence. Today, Labour is producing, federal government is proposing 48,000 naira. It means you have to wait for 2 months for an average worker to buy a bag of rice. You have to wait for keep your salary.
You use the whole of your salary to get
that is the point. It means that livelihoods are threatened. If the country is becoming a theater of the absurd, this is not what we bargained for, and that is why I always enjoin the federal government not to lavish whatever goodwill the people have reposed in this government. All we have seen from day one is tax, and more tax. For what? We have increasing tariff on electricity bill. Today maybe we'll discuss cyber security levy. What are they using the levy for? Our roads are in a bad shape. Things are really bad. Now, I expect the government at this point in time to revisit their promise for establishing modular refineries.
So the government should just give up and
no, they are not going to give up. They are not.
The analysts further blamed authorities, including the military, politicians, for allegedly funding and backing operations of illegal refining of crude oil in Nigeria.
That complex web comprises, but not excluding, the security men.
Yes.
There are those who are the breaded wolves. They have a lot of money to fund it.
Yes.
Are you of the impression that it is all those poor boys who are jobless that can buy tankers? It's impossible. We are talking about a multi-million naira industry, which cannot be funded by the youths. So, ultimately, in that complex web, the security operatives must comply. Yes. If they don't, oil theft cannot take place. There are times when oil has been stolen and the tankers are moving. It is the security agencies that will avail themselves to guide, to provide security for the stolen oil.
Yes.
So she is not making an allegation. These are facts we have seen time and again. Yes. That does not mean that oil theft should be encouraged.
Yes.
You see, government should go into more sensitization. But the best type of sensitization government can engage in is not to talk on radio or television. No, it's not to. You see, our legal system is also retributive in nature. They are just after, catch the criminal and punish him. They are not addressing the causative agents. What are the causalities? What are those things causing, making this use to go into bunkering or oil theft? They are not addressing those issues. And that is why, if you don't nip this crime in the bud, it will continue.
Recall that the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps had arrested 9 individuals involved in oil theft at an illegal refinery located in a forested area on the boundary between Rivers and Abia State. Tragedy struck in the early hours of Tuesday at the Amarata suburb of Yenagoa, Bayelsa State capital. 7 persons lost their lives after inhaling fumes from power generator placed inside a music studio. The incident occurred along Transformer Road, Amarata, in Yenagoa local government area of the state. According to some residents, the deceased were working in the recording studio owned by one of them, identified as Apos Barakubo. They were said to have worked late into the night to demand using a generator due to the poor power supply situation, and the state may have slept off, leaving the generator running and the studio lacking any proper ventilation. It was learned that the 6 of the victims were discovered dead Tuesday morning, while one who was unconscious was rushed to the hospital but later gave up to the ghosts. Some of the victims were said to be students of the Niger Delta University who are into the recording business to help themselves in school. Attempt to get the reaction of the spokesman of the State Police Command, ASP Musa Mohammed, proved abortive as his mobile phone line was not going through. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Benin Zonal Command, has sought a robust media collaboration to prevent and curtail crimes in the command. FRO Kim, acting zonal director of the Benin zone, made the plea on Tuesday during a familiarization visit to the Secretariat of the Warri Correspondent Chapel of Nigeria Union of Journalists. Okim, who led other personnel of the commission, expressed his pleasure over the high rate and spread of crime in the Benin, which comprised Edo, Delta, and Ondo states. Okim said that the visit was to enable the anti-graft agency to deliberate with the media on how to collectively reduce the visibility of crimes from the streets. He said that Edo and Delta have been a custodian of culture. We are brave and courageous people and urge parents to morally guide their words. The EFCC director said that the anti-graft agency was an enforcer of the law, adding that the partnership with the media was not personal but professional reasons. Nigerian Police Force Intelligence Department Intelligence Response Team said it has successfully recovered 10 of the arms scattered away during the recent tragic event in Ohoro Forest, Ughelli, Delta State, where some police operatives were ambushed and gruesomely murdered. The tragic event led to the loss of 30 police rifles to the criminal suspect. A statement by the Force Public Relations Officer, ACP Olumuyiwa Adejobi, said the feat was achieved when it leveraged the recent charge on succinct intelligence gathering and sharing for effective operational deployment by the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode. The statement also said during a coordinated operation, the gallant operatives of the feed IRT engaged the suspect in a gun duel, leading to the neutralization of some of the suspects, while the police operatives successfully reclaimed 10 of the stolen weapons and recovered some arms used by the assailants. Additionally, the police said it has arrested 6 members of the notorious kidnapping gang terrorizing the area. Delta State Police Command has arrested 2 armed robbery suspects. This was disclosed in a post shared by the Delta Police spokesperson Bright Edafe on Tuesday. The 2 suspects, identified as Azoluonye Okonkwo 21 and Anuku Joseph, were arrested on Monday. Edafe stated that the arrest was sequel to a series of complaints of armed robbery posted on various social media handles. They confessed their involvement in armed robbery around Koka area. They robbed 3 houses and the victims came to the headquarters and identified them. Bill for an act to establish the Agricultural and Energy Technical Institute, Abo, Delta State on Tuesday passed a second reading in the House of Reps, sponsored by the member representing Ndokwa Okwane Federal Constituency, Delta State Nnamdi Ezechi. The proposed law seeks to amend the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act of the Federation 2004 to pave the way for the establishment of the Agricultural and Energy Technical Institute in Abo, Delta State. Leading the debate on the general principles of the bill during plenary, the lawmaker said the proposed law holds immense potential for the agricultural and energy sectors of our nation. The establishment of the Agricultural and Energy Technical Institute in Abo, Delta State represents a crucial step in this direction. He also noted that the bill aligns with the government agenda to diversify the economy and promote self-sufficiency in food production. Through research, training and extension services, the Agricultural and Energy Technical Institute will empower farmers, agripreneurs and rural communities to adopt best practices, increase productivity and enhance their livelihoods. Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa, has lost his father. Pa Suleiman Atanda Obasa, a businessman, passed on at an early hours of Tuesday at the age of 83. This was contained in a statement issued by Eromo Saleh Ebomele, Chief Press Secretary to the Speaker. Baba Obasa, a loving family man and community leader in his lifetime, was a successful businessman in the oil and gas and in the transportation sectors, owning filling stations. He was also reputed for his success in farming, through which many citizens have always been empowered. A devout Muslim, Pa Obasa dedicated his life to the service of Allah and mankind, taking care of the needy and less privileged in the society. He is survived by his wife, children and grandchildren, among whom is a Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly. His remains should be interred at 4 p.m. in the Agege Old Abukuta Road, Motor Road area of Lagos State, according to Islamic rites. Academic Staff Union of Universities has said it is not accepting the new governing councils constituted by the federal government for its public tertiary institutions, saying the union is for the return of the disbanded councils. According to the union, the issue regarding the council is about tenure, and that the tenure of the former councils had not elapsed before they were removed from office. Other than that, the action of the FG smacked of illegality. Briefing newsmen at the University of Lagos in Ilag on Tuesday, the Lagos Zonal Coordinator of ASU, Professor Adelaja Odukoya, said the only condition for dismantling the former councils should be that they have breached the law setting them up. On the non-release of the withheld salaries of ASU members, Odukoya said the government would not succeed in what it termed effort to foist a master-servant relationship on lecturers. They promised us when they came in that there would be peace and harmony on our campuses, but already they are towing the path of war. Sister to Ahmed Raji, a senior advocate of Nigeria, Seliat Raji, who was kidnapped in Ishe local government area of Oyo State, has been released on Tuesday after 6 days in captivity. Recall that on Thursday night, he invaded her residence and killed a security guard who was said to put up a resistance during the operation. The Balakoso of Isheland High Chief Sikiru Adenije, who confirmed her release, the newsman said she regained her freedom around 2 a.m. after the payment of ransom. Oyo State House of Assembly has approved the request of Governor Seyi Makinde to assess the 10 billion naira loan facility to provide counterpart funding for World Bank-assisted projects, UBEC Suburb Matching Grant. The approval was sequel to a letter of request sent to the lawmakers by the governor. The letter read by the Speaker, Adebo Ogundoyi, on Tuesday indicated that the state counterpart funding was required to facilitate the release of donor funds to Oyo State. According to the later, World Bank assisted projects are meant to complement the drive by the Oyo State government to improve the welfare of the citizens of the state. The facility, which is to be secured from Fidelity Bank, is repayable for 30 months. In their deliberations, some of the lawmakers who spoke on the request expressed concern about the state of the economy across the country, which has made life virtually unbearable for citizens. The lawmakers appealed to Governor Makinde to continue to give priority to projects and programs that will enhance the living standards of the people. Department of Security Services Federal Capital Territory Administration says the territory has recorded improved security within 1 year of President Bola Tinubu-led administration. Director of the department, Adamu Gware, stated this in an interview in Abuja on Tuesday. Gware said while assessing the performance of Tinubu-led administration and security in the FCT, that the impact was impressive considering the reduced incidence of security breaches. According to him, the security situation has significantly improved since Mr. Nyesom Wike assumed office as the FCT minister in August 2023. He attributed the success to the proactiveness of the FCT minister through intensive community engagement and provision of logistics and equipment support to security agencies. He recalled that Wike had organized town hall meetings across the 6 area councils of the FCT, where he and security agencies interacted with community members on their active participation in addressing insecurity. One of the military personnel keeping watch at the popular phone markets, Banex Plaza, and the Wuse 2 area of the Federal Capital Territory has slapped a lady into a coma. Banex Plaza has been shut down for the 4th day following a free-for-all fight between traders and some soldiers on Saturday. Our correspondent gathered that the lady who fell into a coma on Tuesday was trekking on the barricaded road when she was stopped by soldiers. The soldiers accosted the lady who crossed a barricade at the plaza. However, after asking her some questions, one of the soldiers slapped her heavily and she collapsed. However, she was immediately rushed into a van which sped off the scene. It is, however, unclear if she was being taken to the hospital for medical attention. Meanwhile, traders have been counting their losses over the military action, which they said could have been resolved without a lockdown. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has given a marching order for the immediate reconstruction of Dogon Gadabos Culvert in Lokogoma Village, Abuja. Felix Obwa, the coordinator of Abuja Metropolitan Management Council, made this known in Abuja on Tuesday during the 2024 Flood Risk Assessment and Community Awareness Campaign. The campaign was organized by the FCT Emergency Management Department in collaboration with emergency management stakeholders. Recall that the culvert was on the access road that linked over 3,000 residents of Lokogoma Village, popularly known as Dongongada community in Ring Road 2. The FCT Emergency Management Department had on April 7 barricaded the box culvert, which had collapsed to avert loss of lives. Academic Staff Union of Universities of the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Bauchi branch has joined the nationwide protest to demand the government's attention to their long-standing demands, some of which have been unresolved for the past 15 years. The protest, which started from the union secretariat, saw the vice chairman of the branch, Dr. Mohammed Inti, leading other placards carrying union members marching through the school's premises while stating their demands. According to the union, the protest is an attempt to avert another strike. Other than that, they wanted the government to meet their renegotiated demands. They listed the demands to include the conclusion of the 2009 renegotiation agreement that has been delayed for 15 years, payment of the end academic allowances, releasing the withheld salaries and payment of the promotion arrears, The union also rejected the integrated payroll and personnel information system. While speaking during the protest, ANT also urged the federal government not to provide adequate funding for public universities and to revert the illegal dissolution of public universities' governing councils. Priest, a very reverend father, Oliver Buba, serving with Yola Catholic Diocese, has been kidnapped by unknown gunmen. The incident will learn occurred during the early hours of Tuesday in the Reverend Father's rectory at St. Rita's Catholic Church, Barre, in Newman local government area of Adamawa State. This was disclosed in a statement signed by Most Reverend Dr. Stephen Dami Mamza, Catholic Bishop of Yola Diocese. Mamza invited all Christian faithful and men and women of goodwill to earnestly pray for the quick and safe release of the priest. Captured in Taraba State by troops of 6th Brigade Nigerian Army. The suspects, according to the Acting Assistant Director, 6th Brigade Army Public Relations, Lieutenant Oni Olubundude, were nabbed in separate operations carried out within the state. He said a coup acting on a tip-off, troops from the 93 Battalion Sector 3B or PWX, stationed at Forward Operating Base Wukari, carried out a well-planned raid in Chinkai village of Wukari Local Government Area Council. The raid, he said, led to the apprehension of 2 individuals identified as Usman Gidiali, age 25, and Abdurrahman Ahmadu, age 28. He added that the suspects have been on the wanted list of security agencies for their involvement in multiple kidnappings in Wukari and its surroundings. In another operation in Ibi Local Government Area, troops stationed at Sarikin Kudu apprehended 4 more suspected kidnappers. The suspects, who were identified as Jafaru Banyi, age 28, Mohammed Ado, age 25, Amadou Lawa Shata, age 20, and BU, Adut, age 25, have been linked to numerous high-profile abductions in the region. Suspected bandits have reportedly killed over 40 persons after they attacked Zurak village in Bashar district of Wassa local government area of Plateau State. Our correspondent linked that several houses were also set ablaze by the bandits during the attack, which occurred on Monday evening at everyone. A spokesman for the State Police Command, DSP Alabo Afraid, is yet to respond to the inquiry by our correspondent as of out of time of filing this report. Kano State House of Assembly has initiated steps to amend the Kano State Emir's appointment and deposition law. This move could pave the way for the return of the deposed Emir of Kano Mohammed Sanusi II. This decision follows a motion by Majority Leader Hussein Dala during Tuesday's plenary session, signaling the potential reversal of the controversial 2019 amendment under former Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. The amendment was said to have fragmented the historic Kano Emirate and led to Sanusi's dethronement. The current party's commitment to restoring the traditional emirate system underscores the renewed push for Sanusi's reinstatement. 1 month before Yusuf assumed office, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, leader of the new Nigeria's People's Party, the ruling party in Kano, had said the issue of the emirate would be on the EFCC. Kaduna Zonal Command confirmed the arrest on Tuesday. The suspects were arrested at Kakuri, Batnawa, and Television Garage Axis in Kaduna State. The arrest followed credible information on their suspected involvement in internet-related offenses. Items recovered from the suspect include 1 car and 29 mobile phones. The commission added that the 23 suspects will be charged to court after investigations. You are watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after this short break. Stay tuned.
Get ready as Morrison Communications Limited proudly presents Children's Day Celebration 2024
Arts. La Small Hotel and Resorts, number 9, Rumukalagbo off Waterlines, Pastor, Port Harcourt. On Saturday, May 25th, starting at 8 a.m. Inter-school march past competition,
dance competition, drama competition. Parents, teachers and children alike, don't miss out on the fun with Uncle Clown bouncing castle as we cut the Children's Day cake. Admission is just 2,000 naira per child. For participation and sponsorship opportunities, call us now 0806 673 8689 and 0810 634 1777.
This event is proudly sponsored by the La Small Hotel and Resort with Atlantic Television Network and 99.5 Wish FM Port Harcourt, Lesuka Event Center, Gate Place Hotel, 8 Ball Hotel and Lounge, Oma Studio, Osgia Table Water. Remember that every child is unique. See you there. This event is managed by Pace Expressions Arts.
Special guest appearance, Hilda Dokubo, Children's Day Celebration 2024.
We're glad to have you back. Now the rest of the stories. President Bola Tinubu has ordered the law enforcement agencies to conduct a swift and diligent investigation into the fire incident at a mosque in Laraba Abasawa, Zawa Council area of Kano State, which claimed several lives and left many others injured. A statement by the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity during Galale, President Tinubu condemned the act of arson and expresses condolences to the government and people of Kano State, as well as the bereaved families and all those affected. The president also ordered the prosecution of suspects found to be responsible for the act of arson, which led to the tragic incident. The statement further sympathized with the bereaved families, all those affected, and prayed for a quick recovery for the wounded. Senate on Tuesday rejected fresh moves to create grazing routes for cattle rearers in the country. This is even as the Senate resolved to constitute an ad hoc committee to organize a national summit to unravel the underlying causes of farmers' herders clashes in the country and come up with appropriate laws to deal with the menace. The Senate observed a mini silence in honor of those who were killed in Omala local government area and urged the National Emergency Management Agency to provide the survivors now living in internally displaced persons camps with relief materials to enable them to return to their ancestral homes. The resolutions of the Senate followed its consideration of a motion on the attack and killings of residents in Omala local government area or in Kogi State by herdsmen. The motion was moved by Senator Issa Jibrin, APC Kogi East. While considering the motion, the Senate rejected an additional prayer by Senator Mohammed Tahir Mungono, APC Borno North, which called on the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to create new grazing routes in the country as a panacea to solve farmer and herder clashes in the country. The Senate has resolved to set up an ad hoc committee to convene a national summit on herders and farmers' conflict in Nigeria. That's followed adoption of a motion, a matter of urgent importance on the urgent need for rehabilitation of Ago-Jeju Odo in a government attack by Senator Issa Jibrin, APC Kogi, at Tuesday plenary. Presenting the motion, Jibrin said the area had been under recurring attacks by government, leading to killings, the destruction of property and farmland. He said the attacks and killings had rendered many homeless, with no means of sustenance. He said it was worrisome that Agoje Jodo, Adokpachiodo, Bagaji and Bagana communities have been ravaged recently by government rendering over 30,000 inhabitants of the communities homeless, leading to exodus of the people to other parts of the state. Senator Adams Oshomole, APC Edo, called for an ad hoc committee to organize public hearing to find a lasting solution to issue of farmers' herders conflicts. House of Reps has resolved to exempt members of the Nigerian Armed Forces from paying toll gate levies at the airport, seaport and train stations across the country. The resolution is sequel to the adoption of a motion on urgent national importance moved during plenary by Honorable Abdul Samad Dasuki from Sokoto State. He stressed the importance of the roles performed by members of the armed forces in safeguarding the territorial integrity of the country while putting their lives on the line.
The House notes that it was reported on May 14th by online and print media that the Minister of Aviation announced that the Federal Executive Council has approved the cancellation of all exemptions on airport access payments for VIPs in Nigeria due to the huge revenue losses they cause to the federal government. The House also notes that the Minister of Aviation will implement a decision of the Federal Executive Council by sending out circulars to relevant authorities in a matter of days. The House further notes that men and women of the armed forces honor our nation with the highest form of service and without reservation, keeping us safe from harm, protecting our wealth and territorial integrity, ensuring safe navigation on our territorial waters, protecting our borders, including the Gulf of Guinea, the creeks, Sahara Desert, and the forests, and fighting armed bandits who invade our communities. The House aware that it is important to show gratitude by honoring our brothers and sisters who are voluntarily serving under our flag, putting in their active years to keep our nation safe, with some losing their lives and some becoming disabled from the battlefield, among other effects.
The motion is not unconnected to a recent decision by the Federal Executive Council to cancel all exemptions on airport accesses payment for very important personalities, as announced by the Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, on 14th May 2024. The Green Chamber has, however, instructed the House Committee on Aviation and other related committees to ensure compliance on the matter. National Boundary Commission says it has advanced the course of definition and demarcation of about 15 interstate boundaries in the last 1 year. The Director General of the Commission, Adamu Adaje, said these on Tuesday in Abuja while assessing the impact of President Bola Tinubu's administration in boundary management after 1 year in office. According to Adaji, MBC recorded significant progress in defining and demarcating interstate and international boundaries under President Bola Tinubu-led administration. He told newsmen that the commission carried out joint meetings of officials, some field investigations, and even attempted to demarcate some of the boundaries. At the international level, the DG said that similar feats had been recorded in addressing boundary disputes between the country and her neighbors. He said the commission had made progress, particularly in the implementation of the rulings of the International Court of Justice on Nigeria and Cameroon. Nigeria government has said 1.2 million federal higher students will benefit from the first phase of the student loan scheme. Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of Nigeria Education Loan Fund, Akintunde Sawyer, disclosed this ahead of the launch of his portal on Friday, May 24, 2024. He noted that school fees would be paid directly to student institutions. Sawyer listed the application requirements, including the admission letter from the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, national identity number and bank verification number, and completed application forms from his website. Recall that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on April 3 signed the Student Loans Access to Higher Education Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2024 into law. Christian Association of Nigeria has declared war on gender-based violence, vowing to combat the surge that has ravaged countless lives across the country. Speaking at a high-level dialogue on gender-based violence in Abuja on Tuesday, CAN President Archbishop Daniel Oko condemned the menace, describing it as a pervasive issue with far-reaching consequences. He emphasized the critical role of religious leaders in speaking out against gender-based violence and working towards creating a more just and equitable society. The CAN president commended the organizers of the dialogue for bringing together stakeholders from across sectors to discuss strategies for preventing and responding to gender-based violence. He urged participants to engage in constructive dialogue, share best practices, and commit to taking concrete actions to address the issue in their communities. Organized labor has on Tuesday rejected the 54,000 proposed by the federal government as new minimum wage. The federal government had, in a meeting with labor, proposed 54,000 naira as against its earlier 48,000 naira offer. One of the leaders of the organized labor who attended the meeting revealed this to Vanguard in a telephone conversation. Recall that organized labor comprising of the Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress worked out on the tripartite committee on minimum wage following the proposed 48,000 naira minimum wage by the federal government. It also asked the government to be serious with negotiations on the issue of workers' wages, insisting that it used the lowest minimum in arriving at 615,000 naira as a new minimum wage. Over time, peace in Nigeria has been a serious battle to conquer in every nook and cranny of federation. Talking about political imbalance practices, socio-economics and challenges, and elections conflicts. Religious differences and tribalism conflict have been the source of violence in the country. It is to these measures that KUKA Center Peace Accords holds one-day conference with the youth, women and persons with disabilities to navigate pathways to promoting peace and social cohesion, focusing on the role of leaders of the independent state peace architecture. Executive Director KUKA Center, Father Atta Bakindo, disclosed the aims of the conference.
We are gathered here to do what we call an independent evaluation. What are success stories? What are failures and limitations? What have we achieved and not achieved? And what are the challenges and the difficulties we have encountered? And what sort of strategies can we come up with to make these interventions better? Particularly now that the 2023 general elections are over and we are looking towards what we call the off-cycle elections in Edo, Ondo, in Anambra, eventually in Ekiti and even Osun, and then the general elections in 2027. So that is what we are here to do, to evaluate and to assess ourselves and see how we can move want to begin to think as Nigerians with one citizenship. I'm a Nigerian, I can live in any part of Nigeria, pay my taxes, open business, and thrive and even contest in that place. Not because I'm a settler or not an and therefore.
While other peace architecture who participated in the conference emphasizes on the need for Nigeria and Nigerians to emulate peace advocacy for the country's growth.
And social cohesion even after the elections. And then just to say that in 2014-2015, at the conception when the peace committee had probably emerged to respond to issues concerning our country, especially national issues that threaten our existence as a nation. What is it that we can do going forward? Can we be more intentional and strategic in ensuring that all the training that has been in the past years and all the interventions that have been made probably can snowball into ensuring that we have a more peaceful and cohesive nation. First, we undertook the advocacy visit to all the stakeholders. After that, we met and formed a very strong committee with which we will be able to go and visit all the LGS that we have in the state. And we have the government support as well as the religious, traditional, and the CSOs. Also in the secondary schools, we plan forming this committee among students in the university, that's all, in the secondary schools, because it's good to start early. People don't have a good notion of peace, so we thought it wise to start early. Apart from those ones, we have our regular meetings where we share ideas, reaching some individuals. There is a special group that also we work with the government on these disarmament. We have various groups that are involved in arms.
Moving on to the business news. 210,000 barrel per day Port Harcourt refinery may finally commence operations by the end of July after several postponements. The new date was disclosed by the National Public Relations Officer, Independent Marketers Association of Nigeria, Chief Okadige Chinedu. He stated that the development will stimulate economic activities, reduce the price of petroleum products, and ensure adequate supply. Last year in December, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Henneken Lukbobiri, announced the mechanical completion and the flare start-off of the biggest crude refinery in Port Harcourt. The refinery is comprised 2 units, with the old plant having a refined capacity of 60,000 barrels per day, and the new plant has 150,000 barrels per day. The refinery shut down in March 2019 for the first phase of repairs works after the government secured the service of a technical advisor of Italy's Maria Tecmont to handle the reviews of the refinery complex, with Oil Major any appointed technical advisor. Central Bank of Nigeria has just concluded monetary policy committee meeting, announced 4 key decisions aimed effort amid effort to rescue the Naira. CBN Governor Olayemi Kadoso unveiled the decisions while briefing journalists at the end of the 295th MPC meeting in Abuja. First, the MPC raised the monetary policy rate or interest rate by 150 basis points to 26.25% from the prevailing 24.7% adopted in March 2024. The implication is that the cost of borrowing has increased. The bank said the decision was taken to tackle rising inflation, which rose to 33.69% in April. Secondly, MPC retained its cash reserve ratio at 45%. The bank explained that this would help the country's banking system build and sustain its solvency position. Also, the committee retained the liquidity ratio of 30%. According to the Apex Bank, the tightening measures would help bring down inflation. And now to the international tidbit. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has angrily condemned the International Criminal Court prosecutor for seeking arrest warrant for him alongside Hamas's leader over alleged war crimes in Gaza conflict. Mr. Netanyahu said he rejected with disgust that democratic Israel had been compared with what he called mass murderers. Mr. Netanyahu's comments have been echoed by U.S. President Joe Biden, who said there was no equivalence between Israel and Hamas. Chief ICC prosecutor Karim Khan said there were reasonable grounds to believe that Mr. Netanyahu and his defense minister Yoav Gallant bore criminal responsibility for alleged war crimes and crimes against humanity in Gaza. Mr. Gallant on Tuesday described the ICC's arrest warrant against him and the Prime Minister as a disgraceful attempt to interfere in the war. The ICC is also seeking a warrant for Hamas leader in Gaza, Yahya Sinwar, for war crimes. Finland's right-wing government proposed on Tuesday a new law that would allow frontier guards to turn away asylum seekers at the border following a migrant surge Helsinki said was orchestrated by Russia. Prime Minister Petteri Orpo told reporters new legal tools were needed after the arrival last autumn of nearly 1,000 migrants without visas on its 1,340 kilometers eastern border with Russia. Helsinki has blamed the surge on what it says is instrumentalized migration orchestrated by Russia, a charge the Kremlin has denied. It is standard the closure several times before announcing in April that the border will remain shut indefinitely. Orpo said the proposed law aimed to manage instrumentalized migration and counter the pressure exerted on Finland. Their eligibility to apply would depend on an assessment of their case by border guards. And now, on the entertainment news, Grammy-winning singer Damini Ogulu, also known as Burna Boy, has ventured into the movie industry. The African giant Corona is set to make his debut as an executive producer in Black Mike Ma's upcoming movie 3, Cold Dishes. Burna Boy would executively produce the movie through Spaceship Films, a company he co-founded alongside Bose Ogulu, his mother. The movie will be co-produced by Black Mac, Ifend Alma Prods, Aso Films and Matian Network. Directed by Aso Olusei and written by Tommy Adeshina. 3 Cold Dishes is a set of stories across Nigeria, the Republic of Benin and Cote d'Ivoire. The film boasts of star-studded casts such as Osas Igadoro, Wale Ojo, Akubo Brutus Richards, as well as some Ivorian and Senegalese actors. A veteran actor Zach Oji has refuted a viral claim suggesting that he is from Gabon rather than Nigeria. In response to the claim, which emerged from a podcast video that went viral, Oji explained that he was born in Gabon due to his father's job, which required frequent international travel. Despite his birthplace, Oji clarified that he is not from the Central African nation. He condemned those spreading the rumor, calling them liars and asking God to deal with them accordingly. Oji emphasized that both his parents are Nigerians and he proudly identifies as a Nigerian from Enugu State. Guinness World Record has revealed that Nigerian lady Helen Williams has set a world record for making the widest wig. The GWR stated in a blog post that Helen crafted a hairpiece that 3.6 million, 11 feet 11 in wide and trails all the way to the floor, which is equivalent to a mini copper, which is 3.63 m, 11 feet 10 in long. It also stated that she spent over a month making her latest record-breaking creation using over 800 bundles of auburn hair, which cost 4,138,200 naira on the materials. The GWR also disclosed that the 31-year-old made her very wide wig mostly by hand, but used a sewing machine for some parts. Speaking of her feet, Helen, who also holds the record for her most hair clips in a wig in 30 seconds with 90s fresh happiness and boldness for 3 records. Helen also revealed that she drew her inspiration from actress and talk show host Drew Barrymore, a former record holder. Helen currently boasts 3 records, including one for inserting 90 hair clips into a wig in just 30 seconds and another for creating the longest handmade wig. And now to the exciting world of sports. Nottingham Forest has activated a 1-year extension in Ola Aina's contract. The Nigeria's international joined the tricky history on a free transfer last summer. Aina made 22 appearances for Nuno Espirito Santo's side this season. The 22-year-old also claimed the Goal of the Month award once. Real Madrid midfielder Toni Kroos has announced his retirement from professional football at the age of 34. He shared this news in a letter to Real Madrid fans, expressing his gratitude for their love and support since he joined the club in 2014. Kroos also confirmed that the 2024 Euros will mark his final international appearance. In his 11th season at the club, Kroos won 5 Champions League and scored a total of 28 goals. And that's it on the global news for tonight. Before we go, let's take a quick look at the major stories. And now looking at the headlines, court voiced bandits, court voiced tenure extension for Rivers State Chairman. Bandits kill 14 Plateau community. Again, Labour rejects FG's new minimum wage. CBN raises interest rate to 26.25%. Finland proposes new border law. Burna Boy joins Nollywood. Toni Kroos retires from professional football. And that's it on the news. Thank you so very much for watching. Thank you for watching Atlantic Television Network. You can also follow us on our social media platforms.